Who makes ACDelco motor oil? An $18 bottle that just beat $30 Mobil 1-inch independent wear protection testing. We traced the safety data sheets, pulled the manufacturer field, and the name on that legal document is not General Motors. It's the same company that makes Mobil 1 itself. The lab data behind this gets stranger. Here's the full supply chain investigation. Welcome to Who Creates What. The information in this video is based on our independent research of public documents like safety data sheets and API registries. Manufacturer partnerships can change, and we are not sponsored by or affiliated with any brands mentioned. Always check your product labels. Every year, GM dealerships across the country run millions of oil changes using ACDelco motor oil. The customers sitting in those waiting rooms assume General Motors made that oil. They didn't. They never have. Not in 110 years of building cars, trucks, and SUVs. No refinery. No blending plant. Not a single barrel. And that fact reframes everything about what you're actually buying when you see that ACDelco label. ACDelco is a brand, not a manufacturer. It's General Motors' parts distribution trademark, and it traces back to 1916 when GM acquired United Motors Corporation to consolidate parts suppliers under one roof. The Delco name, short for Dayton Engineering Laboratories Company, originally covered electrical components. Over the next century, that brand umbrella expanded to cover more than 90,000 part numbers. Batteries, brake pads, spark plugs, filters, transmission fluid, and motor oil. Across every one of those categories, ACDelco works the same way. It defines the specification, it certifies compliance, it controls distribution, it owns the brand, it does not operate the factory, it does not run the refinery. In 2019, GM announced a $65 million investment in a new ACDelco processing center in Burton, Michigan. Headlines made it sound like manufacturing infrastructure. It wasn't. It was a distribution hub for receiving, sorting, and shipping parts, not producing them. This model isn't unique to GM. It's how every major OEM parts brand operates. Ford's Motorcraft, Toyota Genuine, Honda Pro, Mopar. The label represents the specification. The manufacturing happens at contracted facilities bound to meet that standard on every production run. For ACDelco motor oil, that contract is one of the longest-running supply agreements in American automotive history. And the safety data sheet tells us exactly who holds it. Every chemical product sold in the United States must carry a safety data sheet. It's a regulatory document, not a marketing document. Section 1. Subsection 1.3 identifies the actual manufacturer or responsible party. This field is a legal declaration. It cannot be faked. We pulled the safety data sheet for multiple ACDelco motor oil product codes across the North American market. The manufacturer field does not say General Motors. It routes to ExxonMobil, the same corporation that produces Mobil 1, the world's best-selling synthetic motor oil. That means the company making your $18 ACDelco and the company making your $30 Mobil 1 share the same blending infrastructure. This relationship dates to 1990. For over 35 years, ExxonMobil has been the primary formulator, blender, and production source for ACDelco lubricants distributed through GM's North American dealer network. Now here's the supply chain layer that most people miss. ExxonMobil is the primary manufacturer. It is not the only one. For secondary production volume in North America, Warren Distribution, an independent lubricant blending company based in Omaha, Nebraska, has a documented role in ACDelco production. Warren handles contract manufacturing for dozens of branded oil products across the industry. For Middle East regional markets, the ACDelco safety data sheet identifies Chevron as the manufacturer. Same specification, different blending facility, different continent. So ACDelco is not a single-source product. It is a specification-governed product. The physical manufacturer changes by geography and by production volume. The quality standard does not change. That standard is called dexos. And if you drive a GM vehicle, this next part determines whether your warranty claim gets approved or denied. Dexos is General Motors' proprietary engine oil specification. It is not a sticker. It is a certification system with defined technical requirements, third-party engine testing, and a licensing structure that costs oil companies real money to maintain. Here is what dexos Generation 3, the current active standard, actually requires. The Sequence 2IH test circulates oil through a test engine running at 150 degrees Celsius for 90 hours. Piston deposit levels are measured at conclusion. The dexos Generation 3 deposit limit is set tighter than the API SP baseline, same test. Stricter pass threshold. The Sequence VH and VID tests validate sludge and varnish protection across extended drain intervals, specifically whether the oil holds protective chemistry through 7,500-mile service intervals in real GM engine architectures. Then there's the LSPI prevention protocol. Low-speed pre-ignition is an abnormal combustion event in direct-injected, turbocharged engines under low-speed, high-load conditions. A single LSPI event can crack a connecting rod or destroy a piston. dexos Generation 3 sets its prevention threshold based on GM's own dyno data, calibrated above the API floor for their specific turbo engine fleet. The enforcement mechanism is what makes dexos different from standard API certification. Oil companies pay GM a licensing fee to print the dexos mark on their packaging. In exchange, they submit to quarterly batch audits where independently sampled production runs are tested against the full specification. A single batch failure triggers license suspension. That creates a financial accountability loop that API SP alone does not provide. Current dexos Generation 3 licensed brands include ACDelco, Mobil 1, Pennzoil Platinum, and Castrol Edge. But only ACDelco carries the direct OEM designation written into GM's powertrain warranty documentation. Using non-dexos oil in a dexos-required engine and then filing a warranty claim on an internal component creates a documented gap in your case. The specification is real. The enforcement is real. But specification compliance alone doesn't answer the performance question. Lab data does. And that's where this investigation produced its most surprising results. We have independent test data across 4 performance dimensions for 6 oils. ACDelco, Mobil 1, Advanced Fuel Economy, Ford Motorcraft, Honda Ultimate Full Synthetic, Toyota Full Synthetic, and Mopar Max Pro, all tested as SAE 0W20 Full Synthetic, all sourced at retail in the United States, starting with wear protection. Each oil was heated to 410 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours, simulating sustained high engine temperature, then evaluated under a 4-ball wear testing apparatus. The wear scar diameter on the test bearing quantifies film strength under load. ACDelco recorded the smallest wear scar of all 6 oils. Honda finished 2nd, Motorcraft 3rd. Mobil 1 came in 4th. The $18 oil outperformed the $30 oil in the single dimension most correlated with long-term engine wear. For thermal stability, mass loss was measured after the same 2-hour heat exposure. Lower evaporation means better stability and less oil consumption between changes. Motorcraft led this category. ACDelco placed 3rd, ahead of Toyota and Mopar. Mobil 1 recorded higher evaporative loss than ACDelco. The post-heat viscosity test pushed the heat stress samples through a standardized tube at room temperature to check whether thermal degradation had affected flow. ACDelco and Mobil 1 tied for 1st, both retaining full flow characteristics after sustained heat exposure. Then came cold flow at -40 degrees Fahrenheit. After 10 hours in a freezer, flow speed was measured. Faster flow means better cold start lubrication before the oil pump fully pressurizes. ACDelco finished 4th of 6, behind Mopar, Mobil 1, and Motorcraft. This is ACDelco's weakest result. For owners in Minnesota, Montana, Alaska, or the upper Midwest, that's worth knowing. However, all 6 oils carry a 0W rating, and the absolute difference between 1st and 4th place was measured in fractions of a second. The real-world gap is narrow. A third-party lab also ran spectrographic additive analysis on all 6 samples. ACDelco's anti-wear additive concentration measured approximately 1,700 parts per million, nearly identical to Motorcraft's 1,720 and well above Toyota's 1,300. Its detergent dispersant package came in at approximately 2,100 parts per million, within 90 of Motorcraft and roughly 500 higher than both Mobil 1 and Toyota. The total base number, measuring acid neutralization capacity. registered at approximately 6.5, consistent with the field average. The integrated ranking across all 4 dimensions puts Motorcraft first with an average finish of 2.2. ACDelco second at 3, Mopar third at 3.2, and Mobil 1 averages 4 across the full dataset. The oil your GM dealer installs by default outperformed the world's best-selling premium synthetic in independent testing. So here's what this means next time you're in a parts store or a dealer waiting room. ACDelco dexos. Generation 3 full synthetic retails between $18 and $20 per 5-quart jug. A standard dealer oil change runs $65 to $90 total, with the oil itself representing $35 to $40. The identical product with the same dexos certification is available through GM's online parts store, Amazon, Advance Auto Parts, and O'Reilly. The framework based on this investigation breaks down 3 ways. If your GM vehicle is under active powertrain warranty, use ACDelco Dexos Generation 3. It's the only brand with direct OEM endorsement in GM's warranty language. Keep your receipts. If you're out of warranty and prefer dealer service, ACDelco remains the specification-correct choice with a documented compliance history. If you're out of warranty and doing it yourself, ACDelco at retail or any Dexos, Generation 3 certified alternative like Mobil 1, Pennzoil, Platinum, or Castrol Edge all meet the same threshold. Your engine responds to specification compliance. It does not respond to brand loyalty. The one choice this data does not support is running non-Dexos oil to save a few dollars per quart in a Dexos-required engine. ACDelco Motor Oil. Manufactured by ExxonMobil for North America, with Warren distribution on secondary volume and Chevron supplying Middle East markets, all built to GM's Dexos Generation 3 specification. Independent lab testing places it second overall of 6 OEM oils and first in wear protection, ahead of Mobil 1. Now here's what's interesting. That same safety data sheet trail pointed us to ExxonMobil again when we investigated Ford's Motorcraft oil. But Ford's specification system, their WSSM2C standard, is built differently from Dexos, and the lab results produce a different outcome. That full investigation is right here. Who really makes Motorcraft oil? The supply chain truth Ford doesn't advertise. One question for the comments. If ACDelco and Mobil 1 are both blended by ExxonMobil, does the Dexos certification change which one you'd put in your GM engine? Drop your answer. We read every one.